Let's see if old Uncle Mike's in. Maybe he'll enlighten us with some of his painting wisdom. Okay. He is open. All right. We're going to sit you right there. Hello, how you doing? Painter in residence here. I'm Francis McCarthy. It's another Easel Talk. We have our coffee. We have our brush. We have some notes. I know I could just, I don't know. You let me know in the comments if you want me just to burble on, because I can. You just push a button and I'll start talking. Yeah, just get myself combobulated. Yeah, it's still a bit cold. Still got the beanie on. Could wear the beret. The beret is basically a branding thing, I don't walk around with a beret much. I got it right here, though. And it's a Basque beret. It's a real one. There we go. Oh, look at Mike. Bold as. Oh, yeah. That's not bad, eh? We'll do it with style. We're branding. We're branding. Okay, so our talk today, five principles of limited palette mastery. Now, I got to start by saying I don't paint with a limited palette. Okay, and so you might go, why are you always talking about limited palette? Well, because people are coming around with questions about color. Not understanding color, not understanding how it works, not understanding how to make the colors, how to mix the colors they see. And that's why when you hear me talking about limited palette, it's because I'm trying to help you address that. So, okay, it's already gone up because this is coming out your Friday, or my Friday, somebody's Friday. Anyway, you'll see it. You'll be watching it. And on the Substack Studio Pass is my very first professional, sort of professional, but very good tutorial I did last year. And I was trying to market those things, but yeah, I thought it's a good place for subs because I'm going to be able to have all the transcript there or everything else. So it's there, and if you want to learn about limited palettes from Mr. McCarthy, then go check it out. Sign up, support this artist, and get over the struggle. That's the other thing. Now, oh, I better dig it out. Hold on. This one's still in the pack. I'm loath to open it. I was wondering though, what is the... Yeah. Oh, now this actually has Phthalo Blue and French ultramarine. I was wondering about that. I'm not really a big fan of ultramarine. Some people really do like it. Okay, so but why this set? Maybe you own a bunch of paints. Okay. Well, this set ties into my my tutorial, and the reason for that is it occurred to me is if you're not on the same page as I am with the pigments, then your learning is just going to be sort of not that great. Yeah. So, combobulated. So, 5 colors is what you want to start with. Yellow, red, blue, white, and black. And black is what we do a little different here. Anyway, let's look at my notes. So 5 colors that will create more harmony in your paintings than having an entire box. And if I could move, I could move the camera, but I'm not going to. Right here I got my giant box full of paints here. It's maybe 20, 30 tubes of paint. Actively on my palette, I only use about 13 or 14 on a regular basis, okay? And no, I don't, although, you know what, I was thinking about this. I will do a limited palette painting this week. I'll do limited palette painting and I'll use the Winton colors, and we'll put that on the YouTube. Yeah. Anyway, here we go. So why do you get more harmony? It's because every color that you mix has a little bit of each color in it. So the one of the big problems that people has is you might have a tube of red. Oh God, that stinks. Some stinky car just drove by. They don't believe in the catalytic converter out here in New Zealand, I'll say that. They're all eco this and eco that, but not really, okay? So now what's the problem with the limited palettes? Well, the problem is, instead of just squeezing out a bit of paint and you're on your way, you got to squeeze out a pretty good amount of paint, and then you got to mix everything from that, and we'll keep talking as we go. Yeah. So, and now if you're working with a limited palette, it doesn't make sense to have too many colors, because then it wouldn't be limited. That's why I recommend the limited palette, the 5 colors if you're just starting out, and then because this set is got 10 colors in it, I did the extended palette tutorial, which will be coming out in a couple weeks. We'll talk about that then. We're not going to talk about that right now. Okay, the power of 5 colors. The 5 that come in this set. Now you could use. I've told people this quite a lot. You could use now actual professional grade paints like real cadmium yellow, real cadmium red, phthalo blue, real titanium white that's not adulterated with the zinc, and black, right? But the thing is, those pigments are expensive, and they have an opacity factor that, well, on one hand is what brings a lot of value to those CADs. On the other hand, can be a real challenge with the painter starting out because of the chalkiness factor. Opacity is quite often another way of saying chalkiness. And it'd be great, one of these Easel Talks, we might do a deep dive on the difference between the transparency and opacity in your pigments. It's pretty advanced stuff, though, really. What I like about these the hue pigments is that, well, you can see, actually, on the channel, the 15-minute one just went out. You can see everything going on. It's just sped up. I got beautiful glowing color. Okay, so power of 5. And the colors I have listed here are not the ones I use, but we have white, we have cadmium yellow hue. I know what's up. Yeah, okay. We have... do I want to open this? I really want to open it. I'll leave it in the plastic. You could tell my mom came from Germany, post-war Germany, so I've got like this frugal streak. Can you see that? Okay. Here's our red, Cad Red Hue, Cad Yellow Hue. If you like ultramarine, you can use ultramarine. Don't use ultramarine and phthalo. I like phthalo. And then we got black and white on the end. Okay? Wonderful. Now, hey, below the video, you could click on my supplies page, and that take you right to that set. And if you buy it from old Amazon, the corporate overlords, I think they'll throw me like 13 cents or something, which would be cool. I could buy my own set of Winton paints. So the Cad Yellow Hue, way more transparent than actual Cad Yellow. Cad Red Hue, way more transparent. But one of the things that grew out of me doing that limited palette tutorial was falling in love with the Cad Red Hue. And I use it on my palette regularly now. I used to do a lot of jobs with burnt sienna that now I use the Cad Red Hue, because the Cad Red Hue is kind of just gives me that red without the extra stuff I don't need. But that's maybe a topic for another video. Okay, so how did I get into the limited palette thing? is this gonna, I don't want to, yeah, okay, alright, good. I have my assistant throw this together for me from one of my videos. I said, here's my video, you know, give me some sort of outline so I can do a bit of a talk. But honestly, it's all up in here, and so I just like to have some things to spark things. I don't like to do a scripted. These Easel Talks aren't designed to be scripted. We're not into that. We better hustle, though, because I'm almost 1/3 of the way in. I don't think I've covered all that much ground. So the absolute, in the beginning, even of the 15-minute version you see online, the first thing you'll see me doing is squeezing out a big puddle of yellow, and then a space, and a big puddle of red, and then a big space, and a big puddle of blue, and then I have my white on my left or right, and the black on the left. Plenty of spaces in between, because what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of that red and some of that yellow and make an orange. I'm going to take some of that red and some of that black, I'm going to make a brown. I'm going to take some of that yellow, which the great thing about the Winton set is that Cad Yellow Hue is very much like the Hansa yellow I used to make Mike's green. So you mix that with the Ivory Black, you have the most beautiful green. You're already off to a great start. And I've been sharing that tip about the green practically since I discovered it, you know. I wasn't even using black for painting my shadows. I was mixing it, using it to mix my greens out for quite a long time. Okay, so, and then I will make gray. I will make white and black, make a gray, and then I might make a violet, depending on the scene I want to paint. And the violet will not be wonderful, but it won't matter, because all these color mixtures will have harmony. Oh, and I will make a yellow ochre. And yellow ochre is a bit tricky. It's like a little bit of white, a little bit of black, yellow, you know, in the right ratios, maybe a little red. That's the thing with the limited palettes, little tiny bits of everything. But this is the value for you as a painter starting out. You learn, oh, a little bit of this will change that. You learn with 3 colors and the white and the black. I'm using my hands. You learn what those do. And that gives you a bedrock of knowledge that you can build on. Whereas if you have a gazillion different tubes of pigment, you don't have harmony in your work. You don't really know what to grab to make what. So this is why limited palettes are valuable. Yeah. And frankly, you know, they can be fun too. Even if, say, you're an experienced painter and you know your way around your color palette, you've figured all this stuff out. It just got me thinking, I haven't done a limited palette painting for a while. Usually when I do, it's just being a teacher, you know, but it's fun. Okay. So, intermediates, yeah, mix them in your intermediates. That's the key to making the limited, and mix enough of them so that you're basically starting out with a whole set of paints, but everything goes together, right? So, you're going to have built-in harmony. That's very important, I think. Okay. Power of 5. 5 colors. Yes, black is the secret weapon. Black is what makes this better than anyone else's limited palette. Now, a lot of teachers don't teach with black, and that's because you don't use black. Oh, I want it darker, just chuck in some black. Well, guess what? You just made it uglier too. But you know, you can be trusted, you know, you can be trusted with black. You're an adult, okay, so just use it sensibly. You know, if you're adding a color into a mixture and it's making it ugly, then, you know, maybe you might want to reconsider that. Okay, so Kevin McPherson is the guy that put me onto limited palettes, and I'm always giving him some credits. I think he's still alive. I think he's still going. I like his paintings. I got his 2 books. I got him. Was lucky that when I first went to the bookstore, which they had bookstores back then when I was starting out, I saw his book. It's still in print as far as I know, and it's a great book for someone starting out. You should get it. Get it used, actually. You know, you can get it easily used. I don't want to criticize Kevin. especially since he made it easy for me. Now I had experience, I had jobs mixing color. I've never been especially mystified about color, but I do appreciate how I had built-in harmony, and starting with limited palette is the absolute most sensible way. Start with those basics and then add things as you go. We'll talk about that more later. So I want to get Kevin McPherson reference in there. Yeah, so here's my pre-mixing strategy. You create your orange, your green, your purple if you need it. You may not. Another one I like to make is like a raw umber. And how would I make a raw umber with this? I would use black, white, and then red, yellow. See how this works? And a little bit of blue. But the ratios all change. So actually, the blue and the red, so raw umber, burnt umber is kind of related to a purple in a sense. So I'll just bring in the black up underneath. But I have, last time I worked, and in fact this week when I make a limited palette, I'll be mixing up a raw umber because raw umber is a big part of my mindset for color mixing. So if I don't have it, if I'm using a limited palette, I'm mixing all my secondaries and tertiary colors so that I'm covered. Yeah. Yeah, this is working harder. No, this is working smarter, not harder. The reason is like you'll notice with the limited palette right off the bat, it's tiny amounts of this and tiny amounts of that to get what you want. So it's going to go way faster for you if you mix those secondaries and tertiaries. In fact, it becomes almost like working with a regular palette. The other thing, and Kevin talked about this too, is like when you're working with a limited palette, you end up with a lot of colors. Whatever you scrape off, you put off to the side, you can bring that into your mixtures as well. And of course, you've been doing that anyway. We all do that because we don't want to waste paint. Yeah, so you're building complexity gradually. That's the thing. You're starting with simple, basic first principles, and these primary colors are your first principles. And when you learn starting with first principles, then you're teaching yourself. You know, it's one thing to say, "What? How did he make that? How did he mix that?" I get that a lot on the channel. But by the way, I like comments. You know, if you're getting value out of this video, it makes Uncle Mike feel really good to know that somebody, I can see that people are watching, but for all I know, I don't look at my stats. You could be getting in, and the second I say something even moderately offensive, you could be leaving. I don't know, because I don't want to be limited that way. But I do see the view count, you know, so I can see people are tuning in. And I get a few comments, and I really appreciate it. In fact, one comment really makes my day. You know, if someone says, "Hey, I got a lot from that," that gives me feedback I need to do these for you. Yeah, so give Uncle Mike the feedback. Yeah. So you get the harmony guarantee. We've already addressed that. Automatic color unity. That's the main thing. And so your paintings are going to be way more attractive. And then you can focus on way more difficult, a little more struggle, because you have to work harder to make your colors. But all your colors will go together. So it's a kind of a win, right? Also, you know, if you know how to read and write, at some point you had to learn what those basic what the letters in the alphabet symbolized, and you had to be conversant with them. You had to have an understanding of what the whole system meant and how it works. And so this is like that for color mixing. Did you know you could buy the book landscapepainter.co.nz? The book cost $65 US. Yeah, that's a mathematical truth. All colors coming from the same three constituent beginnings will give you harmony. That's just a mathematical fact. Yeah, so color relationships over color matching. Well, you know what? I think we all understand. It didn't take you long when you were young to work that yellow crayon over the red crayon and go, "Oh, that's orange." You know, we understand primaries to secondaries. But some colors, what we don't understand, there's a relative amount of saturation, which is how gray or how much hue is in the color. There's lightness and darkness, and then there's well, that's basically everything, isn't it? How intense the color is, how light or dark it is. These are a lot of factors. Oh, and then there's like the purity of the hue. So how much does it cleave to where it come from? Is it and that in a sense is part of your grayness too. So it can be complex, but the best thing to do is just start with the basic first principles. And I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this painting I'm going to make. I'm going to make a really cool limited palette painting, and we're going to have a great time. And you'll see that Sunday. I'll commit to that. We've got principles. Principle 1, the strategic color selection. So we did say it was 5 principles. Principle 1 is you got the 5 colors. You got 3 colors, black and white. Principle 2 is the pre-mixing of the secondaries and tertiaries if you need them. I would definitely do the brown. Definitely do yourself some kind of burnt sienna, and I already gave you a great way to do a burnt sienna as some of that Cad Red Hue, a little bit of black, a little bit of yellow, and you go, whoa, what a beautiful color. It really was too. I was looking at the painting that's up on the channel right now, you'll see, and the full version of which is in the Studio Pass. Very proud of that tutorial, and I hope that people will enjoy it. It's actually, as I record this, it's still not up. What I did instead for the Studio Pass people is I put up a palette that was on the YouTube channel about from 2022, where I was working with a student and teaching her these things, and that's a great video, which is accessible in the members area. And members, I still love you. In fact, I got to remember to put the links there. It's just hard. You can't market to 2 segments, and what I find frustrating about the members area is I can't get my transcripts in there. I can't get the reference image in there. I can't put the palette in there. All I get is a video. I wish YouTube would wise up. Yeah. So principle 3 is the harmony guarantee. Principle 4, the problem-solving mindset. I don't think we covered this. Embrace the creative struggle. So yeah, these micro adjustments, they build skill. Tiny amounts make big changes. That's what you notice with the limited palette right off the bat. And it's frustrating. It gets on your nerves. And so, way back when I was trying to do some marketing on the channel, every now and again I think, oh, maybe I'll try and grow my channel. And it's fine. I'm happy with where my channel's at, because I just deal with you as a real person, a person that loves painting and making paintings, and that's what I do. And if you love it too, then you're in the right place. But I was given advice to make it, if you really want to build your channel, the way to do it is to make it look easy. That's what they say. It's not easy. It's doable though, and you don't even need to be like super high IQ. I'll be honest with you. You just need to apply the first principles and do the work, and it's gonna come together very easy. But these little micro adjustments, they give you the sense of, oh, the tiniest amount of yellow really throws things off. So after a while, you'll remember. You build a roadmap, and you'll hear me anytime I'm talking about this. I talk about the yellow ochre, because yellow ochre with a limited, I use yellow ochre in my process all the time. And yellow ochre with a limited palette is a tricky to mix. I'll tell you how. I mean, you take that Cad Red Hue and white, kind of like yellow ochre, and the tiny bits of red, and a tiny bit of blue, maybe a tiny bit of black. That's how it works. Make that pile though of yellow ochre, and that'll help you, because once it's there, it acts just like yellow ochre. It works great. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, color mixing. It's a patience principle. It requires time and thought. Now, here's the thing with the limited palette. You'll say, I can't hit the color, but that doesn't matter. You just get as close as you can. Lay it on your painting and keep going, and what you'll notice is that it's going to work. It's totally congruent. That's kind of what we mean when we're talking about the harmony, right? it doesn't matter that you didn't match the color in the reference. If you got close enough and it'll look fine on your painting. That's what you learn with the limited palettes. People won't question it. They don't see your reference image. You do. And a lot of what that mindset you have is like, oh, I can't mix it. I can't do this. Da 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 da. You know, so frustration is built into this, and a bit of work, but it doesn't take you long to understand it. And once you do, I'd say, you know, maybe 3, 4, or 5 paintings. Like Kevin McPherson, he's probably painting with a limited palette to this day. I don't know how he gets by without black. I do know, actually, because he sneaks in gray. He sneaks in that gray from Gamblin. They have these percentage tubes of percentage gray. And what is gray but black and white? Come on now. Yeah, the struggle, that little bit of struggle there though, but that struggle will be like, instead of the sort of struggle you have when you're trying, you know, you got the box of paints from grandma and you're trying to make them work on your canvas, but you're not. That's a struggle, and the problem is that's not a very reconcilable struggle, whereas the struggle with the limited palette's totally reconcilable. It's totally doable. You can do it. Yeah, okay. Page 2, Principle 5. Yes, we just talked about this. We're doing a lot of overlap. The strategic exit plan. Know when to expand. That's yellow ochre. So, a great palette for a beginning landscape painter, especially after they've worked with the red, yellow, and blue, is just to take that with the white and the black and add yellow ochre and burnt sienna. Just make a bunch of paintings of that. You know, you say, what about green? Okay, get some phthalo green too. That'd be good. That could come in real handy, actually. Anything else from there? You know, what else am we missing? The raw umber, the burnt umber. I used to just make my burnt umber by mixing raw umber with burnt sienna. I thought, why buy it? But I buy and use a lot of burnt umber now because burnt umber is my favorite color for doing my underpaintings. So why would I want to mix it? Sorry, we're going to turn on the jug. Okay, we've done pretty well though this morning, I think. Okay, I'm not doing any demonstrating. I could do. You want demonstrations of this principle? Oh, that's not too low. Check out that tutorial. It's $6 a month. That's not a lot of money, and you know, it's helping Uncle Mike live the dream, the painting dream. I'm just a little ahead of the rest of you, man. Okay, because in a generation, that's what humans will be doing. We'll be in our studios making paintings and trading them and supporting each other as artists. And so get on board. Get on board with the supporting your fellow artist train. Yeah. And I'm sorry to ask for any support. If I was independently wealthy, I would do this anyway. I would help you anyway. That's how we make our coffee here. Yes, it's instant. Yes, I know. People don't like. They don't like. But you know what? A cup of instant is better than a cup of nothing. You can quote me on that. Okay, so yeah, practical. Oh, well, I got some tips. Yeah, with yellow ochre from scratch. Yellow plus white, tiny amount of crimson, touch of black. This is from my video. Mike's green. That's yellow plus black. You can do that. Mindo. So there's limited palette videos I've done, and if I'm going to work on a limited palette video, normally I would do the opaque versions, but when you make Mike's green with cad yellow, the regular opaque cad yellow, it's kind of chalky. It's usable. In fact, that has its own harmony and congruence as well. It's different from what you get with this set. Oh, you know what? The book's over there. Check out my book. Oh, Yeah, but if you go to order the book, hopefully it's been resolved. Right now, you'll see that there's a note that I'm waiting for New Zealand to figure out what they're going to do with shipping with these tariffs and things. But don't worry about there are no pretty much all the smart people that would have been in government here went somewhere else. So sorry, New Zealand, if you are offended and you're in government, you can send me an email, let me know. So the ones we have left are just they try. So their option, their solution was to hold off on shipping things to the U.S. So I had a couple orders I'm sitting on. And thank you for your patience. Your book will come. I know they're going to resolve it. And when they do resolve it, there is no tariff on books to the U.S. So we're going to be golden. And you should wait a little while and then get the book. I'm ecstatic about that, by the way, because I just had to bring the price up to 65 US to deal with the shipping going up. And to go up again for tariffs, that would have been sad. Okay. Sky grays. Yes, white, tiny bit of blue, a little bit of crimson. Yes. That's the mic. The Mike's gray is great for skies. So you have a bit of gray pre-mixed, and you can add it to your blue, add it to your whites. Do this. Usually, you don't use gray as much in the landscape. It can be a component of, say, tans or roads or that kind of thing, but gray is used a lot in the sky, so it's good to have a little pile of it there. And the great thing about having a gray pre-mix, I got this from old Kevin McPherson. You just bring in a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You can make a gazillion different grays. You can make a whole beautiful painting just with all the different, the various different types of grays you can make, you know. Okay. Yeah, we're doing okay. Oh, we're in a half hour, but we're closing it up. We're closing it up. Common mistakes that people make. Too much of any color in your mix, and what you do there is if you got it's like too yellow, it's too red, it's too blue. Take half that pile, scrape it up, put it off to the side, and then go back to mixing your color from there. Don't keep adding paint to the pile. It just grows, and that's unnecessary frustration. You don't need that. So that's a great tip for you. Just scrape half the pile, and then what you'll find half time when you get into the color you want, you bring back in that original bit, and everything's great. Whereas if you just left it there, you end up with this giant mass of paint that is not the right color, and it's frustrating. Yeah. So avoid that. Yeah, good mistake too. Don't give up too early in the mixing process, because you want to make a beautiful painting. Of course you do. That's what I want to do. But you're gonna have to struggle a bit to get there. That's just the facts of the matter. So if you're gonna struggle strategically. That's what Uncle Mike advises. Yeah. Yeah, common mistake to avoid is trying to match exactly with a limited palette. You're not going to be able to do it. When you have a bit more extensive palette, like I paint with every day, yes, you can get very close to just about any color. And there will be certain times and places or extreme colors that you might need to bring in a specialty tube, you know, like maybe some kind of magenta or something. I can't even think of anything, because if you were painting flowers and things, that would be another thing. For landscape, most of your colors exist in this kind of a range, right? Well, I did a smile. Hopefully that'll be for the thumbnail. I got a theory that a smiling thumbnail will get me more clicks. Yeah, so the ugly stage, color development. Watch out for that black. Always use it very, very discriminately, and it will be your friend. If you don't, you will make a bunch of ugly paintings, and that's okay too. Just don't give up. Okay, so limited palette. Start with the 5 colors only. Okay, and forget that stuff I said about yellow ochre and burnt sienna, because most people say, oh, I'm going to do 5 colors with burnt sienna and yellow. No, I need you to mix the yellow ochre. I need you to mix the burnt sienna so you understand them. Once you understand them, then you don't need to worry about mixing them. You can buy the tube. Now the tubes will have their own, by the way, your versions of anything you mix on a limited palette won't act like the tube. It will act differently. So you're better off working with the limited palette and understanding what these 5 tubes of paint do together before you bring in strangers, okay? Yeah. And when you do, don't bring in too many at a time or you'll find yourself right back in Grandma's box of paint land, okay? Grandma's box of paints land. Yeah, so you're going to do your first limited palette. You're going to click on Mike's link. You're going to buy yourself the Winton set. Trust me, you won't regret that. It's great. It's great because it gives you focus, okay? And focus is what you need if you want to learn color, okay? Choose a simple landscape subject, something you feel some confidence with. A tree, a path, a pond, and some sky. Don't get crazy. Because the idea is for you to commit to doing one painting with limited palette and learn this stuff and get it down, and then you can get it behind you. I mean, that's what you want, right? And then you'll notice what you learn about color relationships. This is going to open up everything for you. If you color was your thing, you're going to look back in a month or two and say, why was I ever confused about color? Color is freaking easy. Composition is fucking hard. Pardon my French. Sorry. I'm not going to edit that out. I think I get one swear word per video. Final thought. The magic isn't in the tubes. It's in your understanding of what's in the tubes. Limited palette work builds up that understanding like nothing else can. Master these 5 principles, and we'll go through those again real quick. And you'll paint with confidence no matter how many colors are on your palette. The 5 principles again. Principle 1, choose your color champions wisely. Red, yellow, blue, black, and white. The red could be alizarin crimson or Cad Red Hue, by the way. They'll have different effects. Sorry to confuse you. Actually, before I was hip to the Cad Red Hue, I would have just said alizarin crimson, but I like Cad Red Hue maybe a little better now. Because it's less cool, you know, that coolness that comes in with the alizarin crimson will have an effect. Principle 2, set yourself up for success by mixing the intermediaries before you start painting, okay? Your orange, your green, your purple, your burnt sienna equivalent, your yellow ochre equivalent, those are the ones you need. You will need those. And the gray. Yeah, and then I would say you may it's getting a little sophisticated to tell you to pre-mix a raw umber because raw umber is basically mud, and you don't worry too much about that. But once you understand what raw umber does for you, then you'll understand. And like I'll be mixing me up some when I do this limited palette painting this week. Yeah. Principle 3, automatic color harmony is yours. Okay. It's the harmony guarantee. And principle 4 is a problem-solving mindset. You want to embrace the creative struggle here and embrace the micro-adjustments, because the micro-adjustments teach you everything that you need to know about color. And then principle 5, the strategic exit plan. You don't have to do this forever. You don't have to be Mr. or Mrs. Limited Palette forever. Think of it as training wheels. Once you know how to ride a bike, why would you put training wheels on again? Unless you like training wheels. Maybe it makes you a little more stable. And that is it. Support this artist, please. Thank you. Click on my page. Subscribe to Studio Pass. I don't need a lot of love. Just a little bit. It'd be great. And or just do what you're doing. Fine. It's all good. Because we're all just working along, right? Yeah. So until I come back, well, I'll be back with a video Sunday. I'll be back with another Easel Talk next week. If you have things you think you would like me to address in these Easel Talks, you could be proactive. You could let me know. And instead of Uncle Mike saying, well, I wonder what I should talk about, I'll go, oh, somebody wanted me to talk about this. Like I said, you wind me up and you point me in the direction. And Uncle Mike talks. Thank you for joining me today. Take good care. Stay out of trouble.
Did you know you could buy the book landscapepainter.co.nz? The book cost $65 US. Did you